Zinc activates MMP9, an enzyme that helps break down bacterial biofilm.
In this video, I'm going to be talking about zinc levels and the paradox and uh, the conflicts between both high level and low level zinc, and in context with the ECM or the extracellular matrix and a biofilm formation. So biofilms, also called oncobiofilms for cancer, are basically protective layers that protect cancer and pathogens from immune cells. So biofilms, they need ECM turnover or remodeling. And MMP9 actually happens to enable or regulate this turnover or remodeling. And zinc is tightly linked to MMP9 because all MMPs require zinc as a catalytic cofactor. But the relationship between zinc and MMP9 is non-linear, and zinc can either inhibit MMP9 or upregulate MMP9 depending on the context and where zinc is acting or where zinc is being activated. So MMP9 needs zinc so that MMP9 can cleave ECM proteins such as collagen and gelatin. So with the zinc deficiency, MMP9 becomes catalytically inactive. And MMP9 has a zinc binding catalytic site. So that goes to show that MMP9 that it does need zinc. Now the problem here, this is also where curcumin and turmeric can help, because turmeric can bind zinc and reduce it. So hence turmeric is actually an anti-cancer, because if biofilms are too thick or accumulating, or they are not cleared, they can actually get worse if macrophages try to phagocytose, or in other words, engulf the biofilm. And that's because cancer biofilms require dynamic ECM turnover, which is what MMP9 actually ends up doing, because the MMP9 cleaves the ECM proteins, such as collagen or gelatin. Uh, what that ends up doing is that it promotes collective invasion, because biofilm-like cancer clusters, they rely on MMP9 to tunnel through stroma. And this ends up creating a situation where metastatic survival is upregulated, because loose ECM, as a result of the MMP9, supports the formation and adherence of these biofilms. Now, if zinc becomes excessive, it actually suppresses MMP9, therefore not allowing biofilms to form. But there are even problems with excessive zinc, such as T cells and other immune cells to be suppressed or deactivated, or just not functioning correctly. So this is because zinc overload suppresses NFKB and MAPK signaling, another natural inhibitor of MMP9. Therefore, the oncobiofilm will not get the ECM turnover that it requires to form, and that natural inhibitor is TIMP1, TIMP1, and zinc can actually induce this TIMP1 upregulation, therefore inhibiting MMP9, and then MMP9 cannot help form the cancer biofilm. Now here's the issue with the zinc deficiency, is that it increases MMP9, and this promotes invasive oncobiofilms due to reactive oxygen species, therefore leading to MMP9 expression. So low zinc, especially if it's by itself, without other things to mitigate it, such as an antioxidant to reduce the reactive oxygen species. And this actually ends up helping tumors evade immune cells because MMP9 disrupts collagen barriers that immune cells must traverse. Since the ECM is where the immune cells have to enter or to infiltrate to attack cancer cells. But another major thing about low zinc and MMP9 being upregulated is that this releases VEGF. This ends up promoting angiogenesis. This is also why magnesium, potassium levels are important, as well as vitamin B1 to keep blood glucose low, because that's what potassium and vitamin B1 do, because potassium increases GLUT4 at the cell surface, and GLUT4 acts as an arm that comes out from the center of the cell and then comes out to the outside of the cell and then grabs glucose out of the bloodstream and then pulls the glucose into the cell. Now, that's critical to reduce excessive blood glucose. This is critical for the blood glucose to be low because the VEGF release by the MMP9 due to low zinc is that VEGF promotes angiogenesis. So that's actually either blood vessel growth by tumors or tumors are using already existing blood vessels. What they end up doing with the blood vessels is that tumors receive uh, glucose from the bloodstream into the blood vessels, and then the tumors receive the sugar with the blood vessels because of angiogenesis. Okay, so the zinc cannot be excessive because then that will suppress the T cells and other immune cells. But adequate zinc is needed for ECM turnover and cleaving for immune cells to enter. But it seems that cancer cells, they actually can sense or know that this is occurring. So that's why it releases VEGF. So an MMP9 is actually a double-edged sword because it supports cancer growth by giving blood vessels to cancer. But the MMP9 also helps immune cells infiltrate to attack cancer cells. Because if immune cells can't do that, then cancer can still end up metastasizing. That's why it's important to mitigate or to have a block or a safety net against MMP9 when it supports cancer with VEGF. That by supporting or helping out the immune system with the potassium, magnesium, vitamin B1. So even though immune cells are infiltrating to attack cancer cells, that this can be dangerous if potassium and B1 and magnesium are deficient. Or in other words, it's dangerous to cleave the ECM for T cells and immune cells to enter to fight cancer cells if there is no way to mitigate the negative effect of the cleaving, like such as a VEGF. So that's why it's important to keep potassium, magnesium levels, and B1 levels up so that that blocks the negative effect of MMP9 since it's a double-edged sword, such as to prevent the blood glucose going to tumors. So preventing that and at the same time allowing immune cells and T cells to enter and attack cancer cells. That's why excessive turmeric can be bad. So that's it for the video. If you want more future videos, then like, comment, share, and subscribe. Keep it locked in here on my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.